Well, our episode today is going to be heavily dependent on context.
Yeah.
Context determines a lot of things when it comes to translation and that kind of thing.
Sure.
So context for you, what would you think? Maybe you saw this. I saw this. It caused some division through people. There was a post. Vodi Bakum recently passed away.
Yeah.
Vodi Bakum, the man. He's got a book. I didn't agree with him on everything, but he's got a really good book.
If you don't agree with him on everything, you just gotta distance yourself from him. If he's wrong on one thing, you gotta have that. What is it called? Holy separation? Or
that's right.
Yeah.
He had a way with words. The way he could deliver words, they packed a punch. You know what I'm saying? The books,
Mike Tyson.
Like a Mike Tyson. That's right. He had a couple of the books that I had read by Vodi Bakum. One is he's got a couple on family worship. He's a huge advocate for. I might be overstating it, but he's hey, if you don't homeschool, you hate your kids. He's really big into if you give your kid to Caesar, don't be surprised when they come out Roman. Yeah.
I saw that.
And so he's big on that. So he's big on homeschooling. He's big on family worship. He's big on multi-gener, in the worship service, you're having babies. Everyone's in there. We're not having children's church. So he's big on that family worship context, which I really can appreciate. So he's got really good materials on family worship, men taking leadership on that, which I really appreciate. And even if I was I don't land everywhere you do, it's really good stuff for just leading well as a man in the context of your family and your church. And that's why his church falls out certain places. But, oh man, so good.
He's going to have a bad quote? Is that what I'm
anticipating? No. When he died, someone said, I should have looked up the quote before I do it, but it was oh, how the mighty have fallen. And a lot of people were whoa. And so that was the first thing. Second thing was John Piper did this quote. People filled up, his ex Twitter, whatever, oh, you're not being kind. You're being because when you hear that, you might take that as a sarcastic comment in our culture.
Right. But, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, I might be butchering it. I might be giving it too much.
The bigger the guy, the harder they fall type of thing.
But what John Piper was doing, he was quoting David's lament of Jonathan, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
And it's so that's where we get it. It's context is so important because you can say mighty fallen. You can be oh, you're being direct. You're kind of saying, oh, you thought you were big stuff. But it's really, the origin of that quote is, I love that. He fell, mighty guy.
So you could be Proverbs, pride goes before a fall.
Yeah.
You had a big head and you were prideful, puffed up, and now you've fallen. Just observing that. Or you could be genuine, hey, this was a mighty guy. And he was used well for the kingdom, and I'm lamenting his fall.
Yeah. So in 2 Samuel 1, it says, David lamented over Saul and Jonathan his son. And it says, your glory, O Israel, is slain on your high places, how the mighty have fallen. And it goes on to, Jonathan, beloved, lovely in life, all these nice things about Jonathan, but people read that and they didn't know it was a Bible quote, and everyone's man, John Piper in his old age is just coming down hard.
All this rocker.
They're oh, I thought he got along with Vodi Bakum. I guess they had differences, and he was no, I'm lamenting David did for this person he loved, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Not, it was the opposite meaning. It's so funny, but context is important.
The context is important. Yeah. It's reminding me, you talking about being old off your rocker. Sorry, Grandpa in heaven. But he preached this anniversary sermon one time, and he was it was past the time to have him up. And he was talking, it was just a 30-40 minute ramble of old memories, and he 2 or 3 times he talked about this whip they used to get for these mules. It had these balls on the end of it that they would. I'm what are we doing, Grandpa? What are we doing?
No, that's great. That's the best. I had something like that at this high school I went to that was just a little bit past, and it's what's he going to say today? And then where I went to college, the chancellor was past his prime, and we're I wonder if something racist is coming out of his mouth today or not.
Did he say racist stuff?
He said hey, I was walking through the dining room. He was trying to be nice, I think, and he was I made sure and I said hey to the yellow table. He's talking about Asian people, and people are ooh, this is 2010. You can't call it the yellow table. That's racist. And there's a high Asian population at Bob Jones.
Yeah.
Where did not go over well.
There's this podcast. Racist jokes may be making a comeback.
Oh, I think so. I think the pendulum has swung where people can appreciate it and know it's like it's a joke.
And I don't know this guy. He's Korean or something. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Probably
Johnny or something.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And he said something like, "Why do people always call me yellow?" And the guy next, "Because you are yellow."
Yeah, it is good to see comedy. I feel like it's we can live.
He's a guy that was like, over in Asia, we never had slavery, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like,
"Oh yeah,
did I miss something?" He's like, "What country are you from?" He's like, "Korea." And they look up, and it's like Korea was like probably the earliest culture to have slavery or something like that. Was reading through like thousands of years of slavery. He's like, "How did I miss this?"
Yeah, humanity. We're all the same on some level.
We are all made in the image of God.
Yeah.
And we all are marred. We are all marred.
That is good. Well, podcast episode today, a little off the beaten path.
Yeah.
This might be your cup of tea. This might not be your cup of tea. I didn't know this was my cup of tea until
you tasted it.
I took a big old sip, and I said, "Man, this tea's pretty good. This is my cup of tea."
Is this Earl Grey tea?
I do like Earl Grey tea.
I love Earl Grey tea.
Yeah, nothing like
Do you pour a little milk in there?
I like that better, but I don't, because I try to be like
no dairy.
I try cut out I try to drink coffee if I'm
so you don't want any calories in your beverages. Is that what you're saying?
because most of the time I'll drink it in the morning, and I'm trying
Diet
to intermittent
Coke?
fast. My parents love Diet Coke.
I know we're all over on this banter, but we drink bubblies like this, flavored soda water.
Yeah,
and I tried a Diet Coke the other day, and I was like, "This tastes great," and I don't know if my taste buds have gotten used to the so far from the sugar.
Like the overwhelming.
I was like, and I'm scared now because I've had 3 Diet Cokes. I'm like, no,
that's where it starts.
Don't drink Diet Cokes, but they taste really good to me when they never tasted good to me in the past.
I can't wait till
my mother.
I see you sneaking a Diet Coke in the car. You're like, get out of the church service to get a car.
My mom drank Diet Cokes all the time. I was like, "Mom, those cause cancer. Stop drinking them." And now I'm like, I've drank 3, and I feel like my whole life has turned.
My parents used to drink so much. It was they did not drink coffee or anything. It's first thing in the morning, crack the can of Diet Coke. That's what I remember waking up to, Diet Coke.
Yeah. So you need to drink tea in the afternoon with a splash of milk.
Yeah,
once you've broken your fast.
That's true. Yeah. I should do this. James 2, quotations, grammar, punctuation.
All of the grammar and the punctuation that was in the original Greek, it really helps us. Is that what you're saying?
We'll absolutely. So I get excited for James 2, 18 through 19 and quotations. Let's take it to the next level. From the heart of the Low Country in South Carolina,
it's the Take 2 podcast, where we take theology to the next level.
Yeah, I like what you said, Michael, because I got a picture of one of the earliest manuscripts that we have on James.
Yeah.
To be when we were going through James and Impact, and I was like, yeah, let's just check the manuscripts, and it's all just capital letters strung together. It's even harder.
I know. So the danger is, because I read this book when I was in college called "Hey Mom, What About the Dinosaurs?"
Okay.
And it was kind of the first person that gave me permission to be an old earther.
Oh, wow. Big turning point, yeah.
To be, inconsistent with, I thought, okay, here's a way to look at Scripture. Because I always kind of had this cognitive dissonance. But he was going over how, Hebrew doesn't have vowels in it. Mm-hmm. And mostly you can tell from the context what it is. Yeah. But he was like, here is an alternate way. These words might be different. And I was excited about this. And I was explaining it to Jill. This is while we're dating. She's like, "Michael, this just tells me that we can't trust anything in the Bible."
Wow. Yeah.
I was like,
you can see how someone could go there. And like you're saying, context drives everything. And for large majority of Scripture, it's very apparent. And for major doctrines, very apparent. There's a couple places where you can't nail things down totally, but it's really not consequential. It's almost gives you more confidence that there's so much that fits. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where you kind of make your best guess. We covered some of this stuff. This one is fascinating because it all centers around quotations. If you know anything about James, you probably know faith without works is dead. I'm going to read
that right straw epistle.
That's right, Martin Luther himself, coming down hard on James. I'm going to read some of this, and then I'll kind of pause where the divisiveness comes in. You might be like, I've not heard of this divisiveness.
When you hit the quote, say quote.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
And then you want me to read from NASB?
Yeah, we'll read different translations.
Yeah.
I'm just going to set the broader context, because most of us are probably familiar with this. If you start in verse 14, James writes, "What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith, but does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacking in daily food, and one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, be warm and filled,' without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? So also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead." So first few verses, faith without works is dead. He's like reinforcing his points. Verse 18, he's going into something, many people will call the rhetorical device of a diatribe. He'll say, but someone will say, and universally, this is where the quote starts. Okay. No one disagrees with that, but someone will say, introduces the quote.
Right.
The problem is, where does the quote end?
Right.
You have faith, and I have works. ESV, end quote. How about you keep reading in NASB?
Mine keeps going. The whole thing is in quotes. So it says, quote, someone may say, quote, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without the works, and I will show you my faith by my works, end quote.
The NLT does something slightly different. It kind of falls on the same line, but a NLT will say, now someone may argue, quote, some people have faith, others have good deeds, end quote. But I say, new quote, that's kind of how the ESV goes too. How can you show me your faith if you don't have good deeds? I will show you my faith by my good deeds. NIV kind of aligns with ESB, CSB as well. If you read, if you go by rules and grammar, let's see what NKJV does. NKJ most align with ESV because that's the most natural way to do grammar in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
So if you're putting quotes somewhere else, you're doing that based on, you're giving a little bit of what are we trying to say? Like you're interpreting a little bit.
You're adding your interpretation to it.
And so NASB translators they're trying to prove something, and this kind of gets to the crux of it, because we all know the broader point is faith without works is dead. James is saying, your faith must produce works, or it's not sincere, genuine faith.
Right. Living faith produces living works. Dead faith produces dead works.
So we'll start with the ESV, and then we'll get to the NASB. So the ESV, NIV, a lot of translations will say, but someone will say, you have faith and I have works. If you take that literally, if you assign meaning to the pronouns you and I, James is propping up this hypothetical individual that's looking at James.
And a hypothetical interlocutor.
That's right, interlocutor. That's great. Yes, exactly right. And he says, looking at James, you have faith, but I have works. Really undercuts James. He's really agreeing with James. Why is he arguing with James?
Right.
Because James is saying, I have works. You just say you have faith. So that's the confusion where the NASB tries to draw this out more. Because I might not be doing a good job of articulating this. You can clarify, Michael, because if you assign the quotes to the hypothetical person versus James, you're saying opposite things. Does that make sense?
Than what James would say, yeah.
Yes.
I've always, the interpretation of Michael, which is probably the most important, I've always taken it to be someone saying like, hey, some people have faith, some people have works. Like it's not everyone has the faith, not everyone has. Yeah. That's how I've taken the interlocutor to push against what James is saying by saying, faith works, they're kind of equal type of thing.
Oh, yeah. So say that again. Like saying like some have faith, and it's two different.
Yeah, like, hey, you're getting all in a fuss about nothing. Some people have faith.
Oh, I see.
Some people have works.
Yeah. You can go
say,
either way.
Yeah. It's okay, James. What are you fussing about?
And then in your version, are you saying then James clarifies and says, I'll show you my faith by my works? Whereas the
Well,
NASB,
that's not what NASB
Yeah,
says.
but that's what
that's what Michael's mind
Okay,
has.
and so-
I've never really paid attention to these quotes before.
I never have either, and it's
and
fascinating.
I've just steamrolled by them and just made
Get the concepts.
Yeah, the concepts. Yeah.
Because the other place you'll see this, probably the most, and it's not really controversial, but if you look at something like John 3:16, that's another one we don't know
Where does
the,
Jesus stop talking?
Yes, is Jesus saying that? Is it John like summer or like doing like an aside? Doesn't really change the meaning, but it changes like that conversation. I mean,
Right.
it's not as consequential. This is a little bit more consequential. The overall point stands because you can tell what James is driving at pretty easily.
17 and 18 are red in my Bible, so I know Jesus said those.
Yeah, great. That's good. We should do it on Red Letter Bible. That's like so good.
Yeah, that's how you know. Just get the red letter Bible. Answers all the questions about when Jesus is talking.
Quick aside as well. If you look at translations like the NLT and the NIV, this is not related to our topic, but when in our version it says works, they will translate it deeds, even though it's not the word for deeds. Do you know why they would say that? It's also another translation choice. And it goes to, if you're explaining this passage,
because they're trying to not make him be seemingly against Paul.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're like, Paul is works of the law. Maybe you're earning salvation through circumcision, keeping the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Versus deeds. Paul is talking pre-conversion works to merit salvation.
Right.
So they pick a word that's not what it means to prove a point, which some might say, you don't want to do that, but to make it more clear. So it's another translation
they're trying
choice.
to clarify the argument.
Even though they use a different word, where ESV and NASB are like, "Ooh, don't do that. We don't want to change the word because then you can't just pick and choose."
Right.
But anyway, it does try to illustrate. But I think all that's fascinating, like what goes into trying to make a clear translation where you want to communicate what is being said. So anyway, because the difference with, in the the other thing to keep in mind, I guess, what I'm trying to say, is when you have this diatribe, most of the time you're propping up someone that opposes you.
Right.
NASB, it almost seems like it's an ally. It's someone that so he's like, but someone's going to say, I totally agree with you, James, which seems weird, but
It does
that
seem
could
weird.
happen, I guess.
Yeah. So what are the ones you're looking at? NLT, ESV, NASB. Is there another one?
I'm trying to see if there was another one, or if it might just be two.
I got NIV. So NIV ends it after you have faith, I have deeds.
Okay.
NASB is all the way through 18. ESV ends at the same place that the NIV does.
Where you really get to you get about 10 different. If you look at commentaries that obviously the translators don't, you get a lot of different things where different scholars are trying to posit what they think is right, and you start to get into more options where some, you get kind of crazy, but they have not been adopted by translation committees for probably good reason. You start getting like cute with it, and you're saying these things where the part of what most translations do, the short quote. What is not good about it is, I guess there's the Michael version where he just said there's like two ways you can go about it, and then I guess James is saying, "Show me your faith apart from your works." And I don't know. It's I think each view has some limitations. Mm-hmm. It's not perfect. The problem with the ESV views is that the you and I don't really carry any weights. Where, it'd be nice if the pronouns like lined up really well, but he might be saying, someone says this, someone says that.
What would have been really nice is if it had said, but someone will say, I have faith and you have deeds.
That would solve
James,
everything.
Why didn't you say it that way?
that is the confusion. Because
then it would fit perfectly. And then you'd say, show me your faith without your deeds. Yeah.
So I don't want to overblow this. It's not really a huge deal. It's just more fascinating to me that I just never saw this before. And I was looking through it, and like several commentaries will pause here and say, hey, here's like the two main options. Here's like 4 subset of options that, different scholars are putting forth. And I just never thought of the you have faith and I have works. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you're good. No, that's all I'm saying.
I preached a sermon on this. And this quote did not my mind just went right over the fact that all this was in one quote. Because I attributed some of what this was saying to James. So the NSB it did not deter me from proper exegesis of what was there.
There you go. Because some scholars, I don't think any major translation does this. Maybe I'll have to look. But they'll take the quote. They'll propose, hey, the quote goes all the way to the end of 19, where it says, you believe that God is one, you do well, even the demons believe and shudder, where it's not James saying that, but this, like, and it, you know, so that's a proposed thing by some people. Anyway, it's the more I learn about translation, to me, it reinforces how much we can have confidence in our scripture. Also reinforces that, you know, they do a lot of hard work, but this hard work, all this contextual work that goes into it,
I think huge. The short quotation is right.
That's the most natural way.
Yeah.
And like, if you look at ancient Near East, the problem is there's not if you look at all the ancient Near East literature, when they do a diatribe, most of the time it is an opponent, and that shorter quote, that's just like what you see is what the scholars say. That's like the most natural. You almost wouldn't do it, only if you have a really good reason. Some people have posited, this is not in our translation, this is the other one, but someone will say, you have faith, quotation, and then James saying, I have works. And that kind of makes sense because James is saying, my faith produces works.
Even shorter.
Even shorter. The problem is, I guess in the Greek, that and I is an awkward way to start a sentence. It would be like, you have faith, I have works. You probably wouldn't say the and I. It's like some rule in Greek.
Yeah.
To start, maybe it's with a diatribe, but they're like, it technically could happen, but it's very unusual. So anyway, the quotes aren't there. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I've read this, I've not paid attention to the pronouns, but I've always taken it to be someone saying, after looking at it, it's good to look at it, but I've always said, basically someone saying, hey, faith works, James, what's the big deal? And then he's going to reply, show me your faith by your works. You know, your faith is demonstrated through your deeds.
So maybe your way as well, where he's kind of like, you have faith, like throwing out different things, and then James is getting to it. Because the other problem people point to, you have faith, is we don't get this in our English Bibles. I don't think I'm misspeaking. You have faith. You singular have faith. I have works. Then he says, show me your faith without your works, and I will show you, plural. You like switch. It's like they don't line up good. They keep switching back and forth. It's weird. It's not what you would expect to see, and that's part of the confusion. Is he talking to a congregation, or is it this hypothetical person? He shifts back and forth. He doesn't keep consistency.
Maybe James didn't have an amanuensis.
So I think, because some people try to rely on, okay, if you're going to be consistent with the you pronoun, I guess I should look this up in the King James and see how it goes, because you can see that a little bit better. But there's something like people make mistakes because the you's not consistent. It's the versus
King James. Yea, a man may say, and there's no actual quote there.
Oh yeah, they don't do quotes.
Thou hast faith, and I have works. Semicolon. I think it's colon. Shew me, thy faith without thy works, comma, and I will show thee my faith by my works.
And maybe the problem is backing up.
So this should have a ye though.
Yeah, and I might be wrong. It might be in 2:16, but maybe it's before the. There's somewhere either directly following or directly after.
Where it's the ye?
It's where that's what, and the commentaries make note of this, saying this is why this way is not a good way. They basically show you all these versions have something that's not wrong with it, but something that make you not
There's not
love
a
it.
perfect
Slam dunk. As you can see, ESV and NASB, very similar, probably on punctuation everywhere almost.
Right.
But it goes to show you, like, this is different, but something I think of, when it comes to this kind of thing. Ephesians 1, this passage that most of us are familiar with, Paul does this prayer. If we read verse 4, he writes, even as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and blameless before him, period. Then it says, in love, next verse, he predestined us. So like the KJV thought it ended in love. And some people still do think that, but where does that preposition, what's it modifying?
Right.
It's like, reading on context, most people think that sentence starts a little bit before verse 5, but we don't get all those right. Not that that changes dramatically what it means. It does change it a little bit. Where does that love? But you could probably say God lovingly did it both ways. If you know what I mean. But it kind of goes to show you, KJV wasn't inspired. These chapters, and sometimes you read like chapter 32, and then you're like, oh, those two verses went with chapter 31, and then there's a big gap, and it's like a new paragraph.
I think the verses were there before the KJV translation, right?
Okay, I don't
so it could
know.
have been before they were translating into English. I'd have to look that up to see the timing.
What's pretty amazing is overall those people did a really good job.
They did, yeah.
Like they didn't nail it every time, but they nailed it a lot of the time.
Yeah. If all you had was a KJV, you can know what you need to know.
No, it's great. So. Kind of random. This might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I was like, I can't think of another place where it's like I've been so familiar with the passage and like never heard of this.
And you're like steamrolled over. Like, how did you come across this?
Two commentaries on this that I was looking at. One was by
so
my
you're
boy.
Teaching this?
Through Impact.
In Impact, okay.
Doug Moo, who has a really good. He's got a good commentary on James. He spent some time talking about it, and then a guy. Do you know Craig Blomberg? He does a lot on the Gospels.
Yeah.
He's got one. He spends a lot of time on this too.
Okay.
And so those are the two. I have the Craig Blomberg one. I go through and I listen to videos of Moo teaching at the Master's Seminary to like MacArthur's seminary students, and he uses his commentary. But I can listen to it in the car, and then I can read Blomberg's, and they both spend a lot of time talking on it, and it's hilarious because like all the students are like asking questions, and he's just like, "Let's move on." It's hard. He's like, he said,
"Let's move on."
He was highlighting, and it's like everyone's trying to come up with stuff, and he's just like, and Moo is one of these people. He teaches at Wheaton College, if that gives you any context, like prestige, like good school, maybe a little bit more.
William Lane Craig went to Wheaton.
Okay, like great school, especially going back in time a lot, and it's still a really good school, but maybe a little bit more progressive than like.
I thought did Wheaton close recently?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, let me just check that.
Yeah, let's fact check this. And he's a little bit more like, I like it. He's very humble. Sometimes I think he gets criticized for being like he'll lay out all these and be like, we can't really know. We have confidence. Some people like feel like he doesn't have enough. He's too like giving to all the ways, or like he gives these reasons. He's like, I'm 80% sure of this, 20%. I think people wish he would be like, I'm 100% sure of this all the time. But it's, he does a good job teaching through. There's like on the Gospel Coalition has like a course where he's teaching through James that's really good. And he's basically using his commentary. And then Craig Blomberg's got a little tiny, I think he wrote like the Zondervan series. He's the guy for James. And they both hit this a lot and just give like 5 different reasons. Is Wheaton closed?
No, but I saw, I have to go back because there was some Reasonable Faith podcast that was talking about some college that
recently closed.
I thought it was Wheaton. It was someplace that William Lane Craig went. Or maybe he taught there. Maybe he went one. Maybe I'm confusing where he went and where he taught.
Yeah, because Wheaton I think is like
he
did
go to Wheaton for his undergraduate.
Man.
Trinity Sorry, we're off topic. I'm trying to.
Yeah. So anyway, I was basically trying to figure out where else I've seen this kind of stuff, and I don't think I've seen this kind of stuff too much. But to me, it's so interesting, especially like works of the law, deeds. Like, why are we making these decisions? What's going through? Oh yeah, and Doug Moo, he is on the translation committee of the NIV and the TNIV, and so he talks a lot about, hey, we were in this meeting and I voted for this and I got voted down, and where the NIV goes wrong, he's always like, it seems like he gets voted down for those things, but he's always like, he's talking a little bit transparently about these meetings, and I think that kind of helps, and he's like, to get things changed from like the status quo, you have to like bring a lot of information because it's, that's kind of, how it's been. You have to like really show and demonstrate, and he's always got some good examples.
Why can't we get that changed?
Yeah, that seems like a super easy one based on how he's talking, because he would be one. He'd be like, I voted not to translated deeds because I feel like he can't just change words.
Right.
But he's like, I lost that one, and he's like, I get why they did that. It's not the same audience, the NASB, But it is like, he's like, oh, how can you just change a word?
Yeah.
You know? But, and maybe a lot of people, that is a stumbling block, works and works.
Are works and deeds synonyms enough that you could say that they're the same words? Like what makes deeds the translation of this word and works the translation of another word? I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be curious if, like, in the NASB or ESV, do we have a place where it does say deeds that are not works? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, I feel like there might be a place.
I'm just saying in English. Would you say deeds and works are synonyms enough that you would say that you're translating from, you never, translators don't just take.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's not like a single word that every word in the original language gets translated to.
That's right. Yeah. There's sometimes it's translated. That's right. That's a good
because
point.
if you had arche in Greek, sometimes you're going to translate that as ruler. Sometimes you're going to translate it as beginning and stuff like that, because it has shades of meaning. So the problem with the translator's job is you do have to interpret some because you're trying to figure out which shade of meaning was intended. And sometimes
that's a good point too.
Sometimes, like useless.
Yeah, you lose it.
You there's like a play on words that you lose.
Yeah, you lose some of that. I'm trying to think of the other. We had a good, the play on. I wish there was more footnotes for plays on words, because there was one in here. I think the word for works and the word for, I don't know. It's like ergo, argo. There's like some like play on words when he's like doing some of these phrases over and over again. And it's like
in James or Galatians?
In James,
okay,
and maybe in Galatians too. But it's like some of that you're like, oh, that's like helps you remember stuff that you just can't, you can't catch it all in our English translations. But it makes
translation
is not a total science.
I'll look up this college closing afterwards, and we'll talk about it. I gotta figure it out. Yeah.
I love it. Well, that's enough on James. Do you like? If you didn't, come at me. We'll talk more. But anyway, that is our take. Thanks for listening to Take Two. Find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube for those who want to watch our videocast.